Well, I was talking to Rob this morning about this whole podcast mishigas, and he explained it to me a couple of times, and I still am not quite sure that I understand it, but supposedly they have hopefully fixed the situation where they're just playing advertisements as I'm talking, or as any of us are talking. But it really
what about
does.
the thing where we don't get any money from it?
Well, that's not going to change. No,
No, that doesn't.
and frankly, I don't care about that. You know, it's like I just want the people who use the app that we tell them to use ad nauseum. I just want them to have a good, what we call in the biz, UX, user experience. Mary knows it.
Nailed it.
That's a plump definition right there.
You want a good user experience. Let me
Yeah.
tell you.
So again, it's like, and I've told them before, I go, I cannot make it clearer how little I care about the podcast. I like that people have the option. I get nothing from it, but I want them to be able to use it and use it in the way that they have intended for it to happen.
You want it to be a pleasant
That's right.
experience.
Yes. Listen,
You know,
listening to this program by definition is not always going to be a pleasant experience. The last thing I want to do
Tell me about
is
it.
put more. Shut up, Mary. Is put more.
My name's Alan. I think I know about radio, but really I don't know nothing. That's why they put podcast ads on
That's
my
true.
voice.
Yes. I'm the
You
last of my
notice-
kind, baby. I'm a dying breed.
Never comes when I'm doing my Alan and Bill impression.
What's that? The commercials?
Yep. Don't ever
We'll
cut
see
off-
about that. Well, that's the
Don't
thing,
ever
though.
cut off the good content.
But that's the thing. Well, here, I'll play it. You know.
Alan, I first saw a picture of a vagina when I was 8.
Frustrated Incorporated.
Yeah, we're getting just weird ads of everything, and you know. But no, so he explained it, and I do understand what he's talking about. Hopefully that situation, I'm going to, on my end, I'm making a couple of tweaks, and hopefully on the other end, it will work out the way that we want it to. Because this hasn't happened for a while, granted, but now it's happening all the time, and it's just very frustrating for people trying to listen. And, you know, but it always comes down to, well, listen and let us know. And I'm like, what? So I got to do your job too? I got to do my show. Then what? I got to listen to my show and then email people for them to figure it out? So whatever. It's not the end of the world. But it has been explained to me what they think the problem was, and hope part of it's geotagging, part of it is some other stuff. And so I'm taking them at their word that if we do A, B, and C, that it will be an easier experience for people to listen. So anyway, a short story long. But again, send me these clips, boy. If you are still in a situation where you're getting weirdo advertisements in the middle of any of us talking, just mid-show, right? Mid-show. Not in a normal organic spot. Send me those clips because I do like them. Speaking of podcasts, my buddy Bill Maher has a podcast. It's called Club Random.
Ugh.
You don't like
I
Bill
do
Maher.
not like Bill Maher. I think he is
I don't know enough about him.
annoying.
People think he's
and
smug and a boomer and blah, blah,
He is
blah.
a smug and a boomer.
I know. There's
and
nothing wrong with smug. I mean, he's a smart
Smug
dude.
sucks.
Smug's fine.
Smug's annoying.
If you got it's annoying, but if you got the goods, there's a lot of dummies walking around who are smug. I mean, if you got
What's
the
that
goods.
word you taught me? Smarmy?
Who taught you that?
I think you did.
Smarmy?
Or maybe I read it in a book. Is he smarmy?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who've turned a corner on Bill Maher because but we go way back. I like Bill a lot. Anyway, I fully understand people's criticisms of him. I've watched the show sometimes and I've been like, okay. So I have felt that. Nevertheless, my point is he had his first ever return guest on his podcast, and he had Quentin Tarantino. And I like Quentin Tarantino. I like his films. If you can follow along with what he's saying, you can have a good time. The guy's been he married an Israeli woman, and he's been living in Tel Aviv for a long time now. That's where he makes his home. They have a child, whatever. And Quentin Tarantino, if you've ever seen him in an interview or listened to him on anything, he talks a million miles a minute. But he kept saying self-depreciating, I'm like, how is the guy who is responsible for some of the finest dialogue of 90s cinema and 2000s self-depreciating? He said it. Now, of course, it's self-deprecating.
Well, unless
is
he
the
means
phrase.
it as his self-worth is depreciating, like that of a car.
I mean, as soon as you drive me off the lot, I start to depreciate.
Right.
But I could not believe what I was hearing. And at first I thought maybe he was just in a brain fog because he was speaking quickly. He said it 2 or 3 times, and I turned it off. And I got to tell you, I don't want to be that guy, but I have to reassess Quentin Tarantino now. In the same way that...
But you like Bill Maher.
I do like Bill Maher, yes. But I fully understand why people don't. I fully get why, and Bill hasn't been on this show in a while, but I completely understand why people are not with Bill Maher anymore. But fundamentally, I think he's a smart dude, and I like some of his takes on things. There are a lot of times recently where you're like, okay, but whatever. But self-depreciating from Quentin Tarantino, no less. Now, Mary has opened the floodgates here with her plump and supple.
Oh.
Because now everybody's going in on it. And
Good.
I just
should
watched
be.
Mary's video. They are very, very plump.
You're welcome. I'm not a
Missed
liar.
the CL Evage. Remember that?
A lot
The
of things,
CL
Alan.
Evage gallery that we used to have.
that was the
Alan,
best.
I'm quite fond of Mary's gelatinous engorged teats.
Ooh.
That's
Engorged?
downright dystopian.
Engorged feels like they need to be
Released.
Released, yeah.
Milked.
Yeah,
well,
let them
you
milk
went in
it,
on
yeah.
the bovine.
Well, because I'm wearing a cow jacket.
This is
Well,
getting worse
he's
and
going
worse.
with it. He's yes-anding.
Listen,
Alan, when I'm a single aunt, literally none of those things are going to apply to me.
well, that's your life.
Texter sounds
You're not
hot.
living it right. Sorry.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
You mean you don't want to go spend all your extra income at the casino?
Nah.
Buffalo game? You're out of your mind.
Yeah. Alan, I love Mary, but from one gambler to another, she did not just play her free play and not spend anymore.
You don't know anything about me.
Yeah, I don't.
Didn't you say you talk like you said you
I took $200.
$200. Yeah, you
Yeah.
said that.
And you
I
got
left
one.
You
all
said,
my-
but you left all your cards. And
I
you
left all my
yeah.
debit cards and everything at home because I know who I am, and I cannot
You lost that
control
whole
myself.
200.
Yes, I lost that 200.
Okay.
What are you out of your mind?
All right, I'm just.
But honestly, most of the time was spent with me and Sarah just messing around, playing the games in the video. You know what I mean? Because like for the video, there's like me tapping the screen and being like piggies, 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 like those crazy casino ladies. So you obviously have to do that.
Piggies is a thing that shows up on slot games, like instead of cherries and.
Well, there's 100,000 different styles, but yes,
Okay.
one of them is pigs. And in order to have
A lot
the
of
slot
pigs at the
going,
casino, Alan.
that's us.
Yeah,
Uh,
well,
Nice, you're the cows.
We're the cows. But in order to have that going, we had to be playing the games. In order, you know what I mean?
understood. Yeah.
But it was really fun. It was cool. Her mom won, and we all got to
She got a hand pay.
a hand pay,
Yeah.
which is anything over what amount, Bill?
Oh, 2,500.
Nope, much lower.
Much like 1,500.
Nope,
$15.
lower.
1,200.
$1,200. Anything over $1,200.
Anything over over $1,200, they have to.
Are they trying to move
They're
get it
trying
higher?
to move it up
Yeah.
to like $5,000.
Yeah.
But that's never going to happen because then they're missing out on a lot of
money.
taxes.
Wow.
But yeah, anything over in one hit, so
In
in
one
a
hit,
free
yeah.
games or whatever on one line pay, anything over $1,200 on a slot machine are technically, yeah, it's exactly.
So many things
$1,200
you've got
have
to
pay
know if you're
taxes.
going to be an inveterate gambler.
Well, you kind of pick up on them quick because it's money,
Yeah.
you know. So you learn things quickly when it comes to your money.
Right.
I think.
Well, clearly you do.
But yeah, Sarah's mom was so excited when she hit that jackpot. But
Of
it
course.
was also kind of cute because she had never played the game before, so she didn't really understand what was happening. But she just kept seeing the money go up, so she was like excited about the money, but not exactly sure what.
Were you
she
with
was
her when it
excited
happened?
about. I was not, but Sarah was.
Mm.
As
I
soon
just
as,
I just
Go
remember
ahead.
the first cruise I was ever on. I won a slots tournament, which
they
is
give you a lot of free play for that.
it's
Usually,
purely by chance. There's no skill in that, right? Somebody has to win. There's no skill in a slots tournament. Whoever gets lucky and wins, and I won $100. I was playing a Sex and the City slot machine. They put you where they wanted you.
More like
It was-
a never mind.
I'm sorry?
Slut machine.
And I won $100. And I was fine. That was great. But that's my one and only experience. I mean, when I was in Vegas, I spent a considerable amount of money a slot machine at like 1 in the morning, and
The
I
late
didn't.
nights will
I
get
didn't
ya.
get dick
The
off
late
that
nights will
thing.
get ya.
So when you talk about, I got $10,000. My friend's mom got
Yes,
$4,500.
But she's also talking about how she lost so much money over all
I know.
the years. So she's,
I know.
well, you're probably a little bit above even.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the way that they do it, it's hard to explain. And I've said this before, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. They count
about a
every
dead cow?
dollar or a dead cow that is cycled through. So even if you, like, I took in my $200 and lost it, right?
Yes.
So my net loss from my body and my wallet is $200.
Right.
But they might track that I played through $1,500. So they show it as a loss of $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you got to get a
And the
Players card.
money that you lose on the slot machine, somebody else will win. They're winning
Yes.
your money.
Honestly,
They're taking.
Anybody-
They might as well just walk up and say, "Give me $200."
anybody who claims to be a socialist that is not also a gambler is a liar. I'll
Right,
say that.
right.
Where's Bernie?
Because
Where's Bernie?
everybody's pooling their money on that machine, and somebody
Right.
will walk away with it.
Out for the greater good.
Yeah, for the greater good. That's right. I've got some food news here. Letter from Matt. You guys were talking about free lunch. I grew up firmly ensconced in a middle-class family. Both parents worked. Dad ran a small manufacturing company. Mom retired from Tri-C after a 45-year, well-paid union career. Catholic school, public university. Never really wanted for anything, but we were by no means rich. I started working 20 hours a week freshman year and continued straight through high school. So in general, I always had cash on hand for whatever. First day of senior year, I thought it was odd that one of the teachers came up and told me that I would be emptying trash cans and cleaning tables after lunch. And in return, I would have free lunch every day. Now, I've always believed there's dignity in work as long as you do your best. So I didn't mind handling garbage, even if I got some odd looks. Years later, I found out that a friend of mine, who had my same first name and last initial, was supposed to be the guy getting the free lunch garbage job.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize how rough his parents' financial situation was. Long story short, I ate his free lunch for a year. Think about that, boy. Wow. They say there's no such thing as a free lunch. But for Matt, it was someone else's free lunch. The people of Strongsville, Ohio, are mourning today. Some people who are, I have to imagine there's the equivalent of a roadside memorial out there, as Strongsville is one of the 23 new locations listed for closure on the Red Lobster list. You know, Red Lobster is just, now there's probably 4 or 5, there's probably half a dozen locations still throughout Northeast Ohio. There's North Olmsted. I think there's one in Parma. But Strongsville, Ohio is the one of the, on this current list, it is the only one in the state of Ohio that's going to be closing. Now, I have to think on the one hand, these aren't locations that had people lined up around the block anyway. But if you were somebody who's like, hey, I just moved to Strongsville from somewhere else, and I'm a big fan of Red Lobster. Imagine coming to that knowledge. The location in Strongsville will be closed. They still have them in, I guess there's a lot of them still open. I didn't realize that. They're in Parma, North Olmsted, Menor, Elyria, Akron. Cuyahoga Falls, blah, 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 blah. So there are still a whole bunch of them. Of course, Red Lobster is based out of Florida. So I think they've seen the most closures there. But, you know, how far? It's not far from Strongsville to Parma, right?
No.
A couple of towns over,
10,
maybe.
15 minutes.
There you
They're
go.
right next to each other.
There you go. They border. So you could conceivably make your way over to the one there on Day Drive. I think it's on Day Drive. In Parma. For people who are, you know. Now, conversely, I can't believe there's a guy opening new locations for Arthur Treachers. Remember Arthur Treachers?
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were all attached
Fish
to
and
like
chips?
What are they attached to? Not Taco Bell.
No,
No, they're
you're thinking of Long
standalones.
John Silver.
Yeah,
Oh,
Long
Long
John
John
Silver.
Silver.
Arthur's Treachers is his own thing.
It's like a British
It's like
It's
a fish and chips.
yeah, but it's got like
Which one has hush puppies?
Long John Silver's.
So I've only ever been to Long John Silver's then.
Arthur
last one that I
Treachers, they got
remember-
like the Union Jack all over their logos, and
There's like green and yellow.
Arthur's
Were there-
Treachers is yellow and orange. Green and yellow is Long John Silver's.
no, green and
No,
yellow is
green-
Arthur
Arthur's
Treachers.
Treachers.
What
Yeah.
color is it? Long John Silver's.
They're
They're
probably
like blue
the
and yellow.
they're probably the same. I think the yellow is supposed to maybe evoke the thoughts of like the Gorton's fishermen, right? The yellow slicker.
and blue. Yeah, yellow and blue. is
I know
Long
what
John
you did
Silver's.
last summer, that whole thing. But when we were out at Oak Tree, there was an Arthur Treachers at the other end of Rockside Road. There, it might have even been like
Arthur
Maple Heights.
Treachers.
Yes.
There was one right by the Funny Stop for a long time. It might still be there.
Is there an
It might-
entire generation who doesn't know what we're talking about?
Yes,
for sure.
Okay,
of course,
I was
yes.
Because my
Anybody
dad,
under 50 has no idea what we're talking about.
my dad liked Long John Silver's. I don't know if my mom did, but I specifically remember going there with my dad. There was one on maybe Snow out in Brook Park. That might be Snow Road. And we would go there maybe, I don't know, a couple times a year. But my dad would be so excited about going to Long John Silver's. I never liked it. I mean, it's fish sticks.
It's just
I-
it's like fried fish and yeah.
I was only ever at one, and I got very sick and never went back. But there's a guy opening up Arthur Treachers, because that one, again, we were out at Oak Tree. That one closed. I think we were still out there.
I think it's open again.
Oh, is it open?
Like according to I looked up Arthur's Treachers and there it says Rockside Road open.
Okay. So there you go. He revived the Garfield Heights location, and then this guy, they had one left in Cuyahoga Falls, so he reopens Garfield Heights.
Okay, so that
And
Cuyahoga
Cuyahoga-
Falls one is still there. That one's
Still there.
right by the Funny Stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but like these are the last ones anywhere, I feel like. I mean, this is a chain that used to have 1,000 locations around the United States, and this dude is opening up Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, which I think requires everyone.
Did you just say this, that it says the last remaining one is in Cuyahoga Falls?
Yes, but
Okay.
he's opened up. He reopened the Garfield Heights one, and then there's another one he's opening up somewhere. After 35 years,
This says there's
Cleveland
one in
Heights is the next one,
Brooklyn.
yeah.
coming back to Cleveland Heights. So while you have all of these kind of, post-COVID, it's obviously, it's famously been very difficult for a lot of mom and pop restaurants. You know, there's all kinds of places closing in Lakewood and other places like that. It's just not working out for him. And here's a guy opening up Arthur Treachers. Wasn't there one on 117th? What was that? Was it a Church's? Or there was a White
that
Castle
was
there.
Long John
that
Silver
was-
on.
That was Church's Chicken and
Church's Chicken is what I'm thinking of.
White Castle.
I
And now
don't
it's
know anything.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah, man, I mean,
everything's a Dunkin' Donuts.
You can have your Popeyes and choke on it. Church's Chicken is where it's at, homie. I don't care what anybody says. You got to go into one of those places. Church's Chicken. Or Brown's Chicken, but they don't have those here, I don't think. Anyway, congratulations to the dude who is so enamored of Arthur Treachers that he's bringing back new locations. And I think anybody who does not have an allergy to crustaceans, Mary, I think anybody who doesn't have one of those allergies behooves them to patronize this guy's business or patronize it.
Whatever you say.
I got a break. You want those Cold Chamber tickets? Cold Chamber's going out with Fear Factory. Going to play the Ladder on Saturday night, by the way. Love those guys. We're doing our metal show 2 hours at midnight. Love